Hey guys, how's it going? So this is the next episode in the stream. Langors, how's it going, dude? Hope you're doing all right. I'm doing all right too. Today we're gonna be doing crafting. I really wanted to start multiplayer today, but I didn't look into it enough before this. So if any of you guys are C++ people and you know what people usually use for networking, that'd be nice. I saw JavaX9's video called it was using ASIO. So I think that's probably what I'm going to go with, just because JavaX9 is great. And I looked at their website and stuff, and it seems like it's a pretty solid choice. Let's see. So they've got a list of people using it and stuff, and they said that you have high profile traders or whatever, the people who trade super fast, securities and stuff. They use it, so if they use it, I feel like it's probably good for games. But anyways, that's besides the point. Today we're going to be doing crafting because I didn't have a chance to actually finish that. How's it going, Mary4F? I hope you're doing all right as well. But yeah, so I will show you guys what I've got so far. And then we'll talk about some of the things that I did implement over the weekend. 43,000 worlds in. Not really, so don't worry. I didn't create that many. I was just getting annoyed because nothing was working. Okay, but how's it going, Voxrefs? Hope you're doing all right. So we've got this and everything, right? I've changed up some of the commands and stuff. So now if I do /give player stone, it pops into my first slot. And if I go give player cobblestone, pops into the next slot, etc., etc. So clearly we need a way to actually manage our inventories, which is coming up pretty soon. I've got this and we're going to start filling this stuff out. These aren't highlighted yet, but we'll get around to that. Tree, how's it going, dude? Hope you're doing all right as well. But yeah. Like I said, want to do multiplayer, but I don't know enough about it. We're going to wait on that till next week probably, and then we'll get more into that stuff. But yeah, let's talk about one of the things I did implement though, because I was fixing up some old code, mainly the ECS system that I had. All right, I guess that's redundant entity component system. But I was fixing up the entity component system because it wasn't that great, and I had problems with it just because I didn't fully understand it. I followed a tutorial and I didn't have complete understanding of it, which is what you never should do. You should never just copy code, because then problems arise like they did for me and you don't know how to fix them. So I basically rewrote the whole thing, and we'll kind of talk about what I ended up using, which was, if we switch to the drawing screen. So I've got like a little thing here sort of outlining what exactly I did. And basically I'm using this thing called sparse sets. And the whole idea of a sparse set, actually, let's scroll down a little bit. So the whole idea of a sparse set is basically you have one giant array, right? And this is like, say, your component indexing array, right? So we could say this is for my rigid bodies, and this tells me where to look in the dense array. And so technically this is called a sparse set. But basically what we end up doing is we have this dense array which has all of the components right next to each other. And then we have this sparse array which has a bunch of spread out components, right? So let's say entity 5 has a component in here. So we go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this would hold an index. So say entity's 5 component is an index 0. And that tells us, hey, look in index 0 for your component. And then what he has is hey, I go back to entity 5 and I also have this component, and I actually have 2 arrays here actually. So basically I have like the entities array, which is just the indexing, and then I have like the actual rigid bodies array, which holds the data. And so then this holds like the rigid body, so I can get that. The whole reason we do this is because this will all fit into a cache line, hopefully. And so the point of this is basically if we smush all of our components right next to each other, we can iterate over this array. This can tell us which entities, right? We can look in here, figure out which entity this actually is, and then we can go and check and see if it has the other components we want. And that's sort of the basic way that this works. It gets a little bit more complicated because if you have a sparse array like this, you're wasting a lot of space, right? You could have hundreds of slots that are just empty here because none of these entities have or have a rigid body. And so you want to avoid that, right? You don't want to be wasting a ton of space where it's like, yeah, none of these actually have a component, but then this one does, and he's in index 1, and then this is like entity, like whatever that is, like 12, right? But then we have all of this wasted space in between, and we want to get rid of that. And so what I did was I ended up implementing this thing where basically I have like sparse set pools, okay? And so the basic idea is we have these pools, and these are all sparse sets, but they are only 8 units long, right? So we can only store 8 entities inside a specific pool. And then what we do is we store the start index of this pool, and clearly the end index is the start plus 8. And we just have to make sure that these align on an 8 boundary, right? So this has to start on actually not 23, that would be bad, because then we could have overlapping pools. This would actually have to start on 24, since that's a multiple of 8. And then that one would end on 32. Actually, I think that would end on 31. 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 1, 2. Nope, 32. I don't know. Maybe that would start on 23. I don't know. But the point is we basically start on these multiples of 8, which ensures that we never get 2 pools that are overlapping, right? You don't want to end up in a situation where you have one pool that's going over this one, because then you kind of run into problems. And then what I do is I say, okay, I'm looking for entity 25 or 27, whatever this is. Yeah, 25, we'll say. I'll say this is actually 23. So then I would say, okay, let's look through the pools. This one starts at 0, so it can't be in here. And then I go to the next pool. This one starts at 23. Oh, it can be in here. And then I go and I get the index, and basically I check and see, and I say, oh, this is right here. And then that tells me where it is in the dense array, and then I can go back and forth, all that stuff. Oh, and I guess technically it would be this one right here. But anyways, that's how we go this way. And this actually makes it pretty easy for when we're removing entities. How do you know if an entity doesn't exist? Well, you just use a null identifier, right? So all of these slots are filled with null, which in my case is just the maximum of a uint 32. And so you just have those as nulls, which basically says, okay, there can't be a component attached to this entity. So lookup's pretty quick. You can just say, does it have a transform? Check in here. Nope, it doesn't. Check here. Yep, it does. And then when you want to go remove an entity, it's pretty easy as well. basically say we want to remove this transform component from entity, I guess in this case would be 0. So what we would do, or actually no, this is entity 3, because yeah, that. What we would do is basically we would say, okay, let's remove this guy, and then we'll say let's remove him. Let's switch him to null. And then what we do is we move 25 here. So then we would say, okay, let's move 25 into the first index. So we move 25 here. We swap it with the last element in our dense array. And then we go to our sparse array, update his index to 0 now because he's pointing to a different location. And then we decrement the amount of components we have. And so we essentially end it here now. And it's really easy to remove components now because you just swap one element and you don't have to worry about anything. No reordering, nothing like that. So this is the basic way that the entity component system works now. I'll talk a little bit more about some problems that came up though, because there were problems, always. How's it going, Essie Woods? I've heard some rumors you quit your job and going full-time YouTuber and knocking one video out of the park after the other. I wish. No. YouTube isn't going to be paying the bills anytime soon. It's definitely better than what it was, but it's still not anywhere near what I would need to actually pay my rent and stuff. Maybe one day though. And how's it going, Hilbert Curve? I don't know if I said hey yet, but how's it going? Hope you're doing all right. So this entity component system, we can kind of look in the code too, just to peruse it and get a better idea of how this works and stuff. But it works pretty good. I did some testing. I haven't tested the removal, but adding components works good. I'm not really removing any entities right now anyways, so I don't have to worry about that too much. But it's working pretty good so far. You can see that it kind of follows the pattern that I said, right? I've got this versioning thing that I'm not actually using right now, but it will be useful for when I start deleting entities to tell if like it's an old entity or a newer entity or whatever. We'll ignore that for now. But then I've got like these sparse set pools, right? And so they just hold 8 indices, right? This is just 8 and this is an entity index, and then it holds the start index so we can tell where this one starts and where it ends. And then we basically initialize it to the null index, just like I said. And then we have the sparse set, which is like a set of pools, right? This is just one individual pool, but you could have a collection of pools which contains all of your components, right? And by the way, an entity component system doesn't have to be this complicated, but it did have significant performance improvements. I don't know how. Okay, I implemented this in a naive way before, and I didn't realize how much it was slowing down my program. But then when I booted it up after I rewrote this code, it was way faster, which was a pretty big surprise to me. I'm gonna switch back to debug mode too. But yeah, anyway, so we've just got like our array of pools, and then we've got our index. We have the number of pools that we have, how many components we have, and then we have the data, which is the components. And we basically just got a few different things. Get a pool aligned index, which basically just makes sure we're aligned on a multiple of the pool size. We have this get pool thing, which takes the entity index. This is bound to be slow, but as long as you don't have too many entities, it won't be a big problem. This will just loop through the pools until it sees if we have any that actually contain the start index for this entity. And then we have like get, which basically looks for the correct pool. And then it gets and so this is where it gets kind of complicated, right? Jujas, how's it going? And I might have said that completely wrong, but thanks for subscribing, dude. That's epic. And so this dense array index, right? What we do is we say, let's get the index minus the pool start index. So we basically index into that specific pool, get where it is in the dense array. We make sure that the dense array is a valid index. And then we basically just say return the data plus the dense array plus that, or times that, I guess. And that's the most complicated bit. But as long as you can wrap your mind around that, you've basically got yourself an entity component system. There's a couple of other things too that make it a little bit more complicated, like iterating through entities and stuff. I wanted it to be pretty easy to iterate through entities, so you can do stuff like this inside the physics, where we basically go for each entity in view, and then we want all entities with these 3 components, and so it'll go through and only pick up entities that contain those 3 components, and then I can successfully get those. And that gets a little bit more complicated, but it's pretty good. And Jujas, it's all fine. You just have the prime sub laying around, so I might as well use it. That's awesome. Yeah, agreed, Essie Woods. It was epic. Okay, I'm gonna take a drink of some coffee. But yep, for those of you who just joined though, we are gonna be doing crafting today. Entity component system is pretty much done, so There's not really anything I have to do with that other than a few more tests to figure stuff out. And I was telling some other people too, I wanted to do multiplayer, but I do not know enough about multiplayer yet to be able to do it. So I'm going to have to learn some more of that over this week, and then we'll get started and see what's going on with that. But yeah, so I basically got this. I finally got my pixel art under control and was able to create a better looking menu, heavily inspired by Minecraft's actual menu. This isn't completely good right now though, because you'll see if I give myself some oak logs and I open it up, we should see that oak log here, but we don't. So let's get this whole thing sorted out. And also these aren't highlighted yet. We will get that sorted out as well so that we can come up with a crafting system. And that's another thing that I'm not completely sure on how I want to do. I know I want to put all the crafting recipes in YAML, but how do we get it so that like if you place 2 oak logs here, here, or here, or here, or here, how do we get that so that basically like you can place the recipe anywhere in the 9x9 grid and that same recipe applies to the whole grid? That's something we'll have to be solving today. I've got some ideas too, but if you guys have ideas, feel free to let me know. Anyways though, let's go ahead and add in the hotbar and stuff so that we can actually see our inventory. And the whole reason that this spurred on me refactoring the entity component system was because if we go into the main HUD, let's actually just close all of these. Yeah. How's it going, Rootsky? How good to see you. And voxel rift relative chords from some single main item. Yeah, that could probably be pretty good. We'll have to explore these ideas. So, yeah. Okay, so the reason that the entity component system, why I had to do that was because I wanted the inventory to be like an actual component that you can attach to any entity, which will be useful because then you can have like zombies having inventories, right? And it doesn't matter because it's just, it's a component, right? So component can be attached to any entity. And then multiple players, this will go pretty good. Before I had the inventory as like a global that was just attached to the main player, but that's not good because it's not very scalable. The way this looks though, is we basically have this broken up into a hotbar and the main inventory. And it's a union between this and just slots for ease of iteration. So we can either iterate through all the slots at once, or we can like look at the hotbar individually or the main inventory individually. And then it also has like the current hotbar slot, which should tell us whatever entity is holding at that moment. So if we go into the main HUD though, we should be able to find, yeah, so this is where we're drawing the hotbar. And you'll see I'm going through the number of hotbar slots, and then I'm just looking in the hotbar here, somewhere around here. Yeah, right here. So we look at the hotbar, and that's for the bottom part. But then we want to draw the crafting screen if we're viewing that. And this is where it's going to get a little bit trickier, but it shouldn't be too bad. So let's get those items drawn up here. And then we can go on and start adding like the dragging functionality, all that good stuff that we need. But voxels, but it doesn't have variable sizes in inventory, I guess. It doesn't, but you know, it should be pretty easy to add if we want to add like extra slots or something. And then we could have like some sort of like type in here where it's like, if this is a player inventory, you only get this many slots. Or we could just have different types of inventories, right? We could have like, this is a regular inventory. We could have like a large inventory, which has more stuff. And then we could go from there. So it all depends on how we want to do this and everything. Do 493, good morning, made it to the stream. Nice to see you. It's cool that we're getting some more people. So how are we going to do this? Well, first of all, we need to draw the hotbar stuff here. Tree, Forge does this with crafting. You have a key and a value, X in oak log. Then you just make an array of strings with keys to replace. So X, 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 comma, X, space being no item. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm thinking too. I'll show you guys once we get to that point what I'm kind of thinking, and then we'll see if it kind of matches up with what you guys are thinking as well, or if you guys think that there will be some problems with it. You're Du Chang, the Chinese dude who kept begging for more world height. Hey, that's okay, dude. It's good to see you, and I do remember you from the Discord, so it's awesome that you were able to make it today. Okay, so we have to draw all of our slots here. So what are we going to do? I'm going to steal some code from here, which should give us, yeah, some easier stuff. So what we can do here is we can get the hotbar or the block ID, I guess. We'll probably want to draw that behind. So we'll leave that as it is. And what we'll say is get the hotbar block ID, and then I will grab all this stuff. I should probably abstract that out into a function, which I might do after the stream. We'll say if this block ID, this is just going to be our slots, not our hotbar. So if this block ID is not null block and it's not an error block, then we want to draw it. So we get the format, and then we get the texture for the item picture, and then we get the sprite. We get the sprite size and all that stuff. We get the small size. Do I want to do that? Crafting slot size is what I want to use here. So we'll do that. And then adjusted position, that should all be good. Is the current slot position, is that what I'm still using here? I might be using, nope, I'm using slot position, so we'll change this up. So slot position plus the size, so that's just centering it on the slot, and that should be good. So if we do this, we should get stuff drawn now, which is pretty good. Let's see how this goes. So if we go ahead and jump into here, I really need to speed some of the lighting calculations up because they take a while in debug mode. It's fine in release mode, which is why I'm not too concerned about. Let's give player stone and oak. And then if we open it up, there we go. Cool. So we are getting it in here. They look a little bit small though, so I might expand. And they're not centered too. So let's fix, oh, I know why they're not centered, but let's make them a little bit bigger too, because I think that would be nice. But yeah, and then we can start implementing the drag functionality. I think Minecraft has it backwards than me too. I have the slots get darker as you hover over them, and I think Minecraft, it gets lighter as you hover over them. So yeah, we're just going to be different though. How can you play it on Linux? You're not a Windows user. Currently only available on Windows. I need to change up a lot of code to get it to work on Linux, which I want to do, but I'm still going to be doing that just a little bit later. The Forge crafting method also supports custom crafting sizes, but it's annoying to work with. Yeah, we're going to make it hopefully better to work with custom crafting sizes and everything too. Yep. Okay, so let's see if we can go ahead and, first of all, this should be that. Let's make it 95% of the size and see if that looks a little bit better. And I think that should be good. So we'll go ahead and do this again. And then we got to start implementing the drag functionality, all of that good stuff, which shouldn't be too hard. Okay. It's good that we're finally at a point where we can start doing this stuff though, because I have been waiting for proper inventory and everything. Okay, so let's say give player stone. Okay, yep, so those definitely look better. And if I go in full screen, yeah, this looks pretty good. Cool. So then let's add it so that when I click it, it gets into my mouse and I start dragging it around. And then we'll also have to get it so when I hit E, if I'm dragging it around, it either puts it back in the slot it was in. I don't know how I should do this. So if I click it and I'm holding it over here and then I just click off of this, pressing E, should the item drop in the game or should it just snap back to where it was at? Questions. We'll figure that stuff out. For now though, we'll just start dragging it. Ritsky, I saw your video on YouTube today and you believe C++ developers are legend, especially developers who do not use the game engine. I appreciate that, Ritsky. It is actually easier than you would think. It just takes a while to get used to and stuff. So I've been doing C++ for about 2 or 3 years now. And once you've been using it for a little bit, it definitely gets a little bit easier. So Voxriffs, implementing new features is fun. Yes. Okay. So if we click it, let's go ahead and add that snapping functionality. So this is checking if we've clicked it, and we don't really need this. And we don't really care if we didn't click it. So yeah, I can remove that. And we basically want to add some sort of Boolean. I want to move this to its own function just to simplify this stuff a little bit more. So let's go ahead and add a function here for that stuff. We shall say, yeah, right here, we'll say static void update crafting screen. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and just write that down here. And then we'll just grab this stuff. Yep, this stuff. Okay, we'll grab this stuff. And we'll just paste that into here. And then we can go ahead and say update crafting screen. And this is looking for our inventory. We need to pass that along to it as well. So we'll just say that. Go down here. Add that there. We should be good now. Okay. Let's just make sure I didn't break anything real quickly. The item should drop since you may have picked up an item by that time and inventory may be full. That's a good idea. So for now, I'll put a to-do in there and I'll just have it like disappear for now. Also, when you're switching to VS22, yeah, I want to actually switch pretty soon because I've heard good things about it and it's nice that they finally switched to 64-bit. So I am interested to see how that goes. I'm kind of scared to upgrade though, and I need to see if Premake supports it yet, because if it doesn't, then I'm just going to wait till they support it fully. But yeah, so let's give myself some of those, and we get this. This is all still working correctly, so we're good. I didn't break anything. Okay, so now when I click on it, we want to start dragging it. So let's add a static boolean in here. Static bool. Actually, we don't even have to do that. We could do, so we have a sprite here, which is this block ID. Yep, okay, so what we could do is we could have a static sprite star, and we'll call this our item that the mouse is holding. I don't know how to phrase that. Mouse item for now. Okay, and we'll set it to a null pointer, and then if it gets picked up, which we would get here, let's do a boolean. Bool should pick up item equals false. Or actually should pick up or drop item, because right, if we're holding an item, then it should drop it in there. So this, we'll just call this is clicked. Clicked inventory slot. So that's false. And then if we click it, we'll say clicked inventory slot equals true. And then inside of here, we can say, if we clicked it, so if clicked, so this is if we clicked an inventory slot that was occupied by something, right? Which we can see because it's like not a null block or an error block. And if we clicked it, we want to be dragging it. So then we'll say mouse item equals sprite. We'll copy the sprite because that sounds like the best thing to do. I'm trying to think of how we should go about this. Yeah, we're gonna need two variables because that's the only way to do this. So we'll copy the sprite, but we can't do that because it's a pointer. So let's make this not a pointer. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna say static bool is holding item equals false. We kind of need two variables in order to do it this way. And I think this is gonna be the best way. So then we'll say is holding item equals true here. Oh, and this way we can also check too. So if we were holding an item when we clicked into a block that was occupied, then we actually want to swap this guy out with this guy. So we'll get around to that too. For now, let's just get it into the mouse right now. Okay. So is holding item equals true. And then what we can do is we can say down here, if is holding item. Let's abstract this into its own function too, because this is getting kind of annoying to do. So what do we want to do? We want to have like a static void draw item in slot. And then we'll pass it the block ID. So we'll say block, or actually we'll just say int block ID. And then we also need a couple other things. I think we need like a const glm vec2 slot pose, and then we need a const glm vec2 slot size. And I think that should be good. So then we'll go down here, paste that in real quickly. We'll copy this stuff. Actually, we should probably copy all of this. Yeah, I'm gonna copy all this. Okay, so we'll copy this stuff. Get rid of this because we don't need this when we're drawing. And then we'll say block ID. If the block ID is not null and the block ID is not error, we get the format. We get that. Okay, then we get the, this isn't slot, we're just gonna use the slot size passed in here. Oh, we should also use a float. Small, I don't know, what do we call this? Item size? I don't know. We'll call it item size for now. If there's a better name, I'll come up with that. But we'll just multiply that for now. And then we're gonna do slot position. I'll just do that. Plus the slot size minus the small size times 0.5, we draw it. Okay, so that should be good. Let's just copy that and paste it back up here again. And we are good there. And then down here, let's replace this stuff so that we're not duplicating our code everywhere. So right here, what we can do now is we can say draw item in slot, and we're gonna give it the block ID, which is our inventory block ID. We're gonna give it the slot position, which is current slot position, not get locale slot position, and then the slot size, which we're gonna be using the inventory slot size, and the item size, which is 0.8 F. Okay, so let's copy that because I need to replace this whole thing, and we're good there. So that should replace the hotbar, and then for the crafting menu, we'll do something similar. We can replace all of this stuff with, see, that's why I'm kind of wondering, do I want this? Okay, let's do this. Just a little bit more refactoring. Let's remove this. We're gonna assume the block ID is valid. So actually, I'm gonna change that into an assert, and then we'll fix that up. Yeah, so let's remove the if statement in here because I don't like that. We will remove all that stuff, copy that, and then I'll also say glogger assert that the block ID is not error or not null. Okay, and then we'll say invalid block ID cannot draw null or error block. Okay, so we just add that check in there, and then we can go ahead and copy that. We don't want to just assert only if that's not true. Okay, so then we just gonna assume that it's true in there, and then we'll add that if statement back up here. So we'll say if, okay, inventory block ID, cool. So now we're good. So now we only draw it if it's actually visible. Okay, and then we can sort of fix this up. We will say draw item in slot. Block ID is inventory block ID. Slot position is slot position. Slot size is crafting slot size. And we're gonna do 0.95 F for the item size. Cool. Now that that's there, that's a little bit better. Do 493. If I want Chinese localization for the game sometimes, you can help with that. Oh, that would actually be pretty cool. I'd be interested just in how like Chinese text rendering works and stuff, because I'm not sure. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like it doesn't go left to right, or am I thinking of like Japanese? But also the characters are more complex and stuff, so that would be pretty cool. Rutski, how long is it going to take to release first playable version? It's kind of playable already, and I do have releases, but it's not like you can't play too much on it. You can do some building and stuff, but yeah, I'm kind of waiting till it gets to just a more stable state. I'm gonna say like, I don't know, a couple more months, maybe 2 or 3 more months before I can release something that's sort of playable. So we'll see. And do 493. If there's a precompiled exe, you can run a Windows VM and play it. There is precompiled exe on the GitHub. So if you go to GitHub, which is linked in the YouTube channel, I think I'll paste this in the chat too for you guys. But yeah, if you go to the releases over here, you can just hit releases, and I've got some precompiled releases here that you can sort of check out and everything. But yeah. Also, how's it going, Alan MG? I'm gonna say it's ALN, so I'm not sure if that is Alan, but yeah. Chinese goes left to right, and characters use a grid system. They're also much denser than Latin characters. Okay, yeah, and I know rendering the characters are a little bit different since the Chinese glyphs are like composite. Like you composite a bunch of glyphs together instead of like the English language where it's just P is just one symbol, really. So it's an interesting problem that I would love to take a look at some time. Yeah. Anyways, there's pre-releases here though if you guys are interested. But yeah. let's continue with this. So let's change this to mouse item is just a block ID because that's a little bit easier. Mouse item, actually let's keep it that. So mouse item, and then we'll set it to the inventory block ID here. And then we'll say if we're holding the item, then we want to match it to the mouse's coordinates. So we'll say input, what is this called? Mouse X. I think it's mouse screen X. Okay, yep. So we'll say glm vec2 mouse pose equals glm vec2 input mouse screen X input mouse screen Y. Okay, so we get the mouse position, and then we're just going to draw the item there. We'll say draw item in slot. It's not really in a slot, but that doesn't matter. We'll give it the mouse item. We will give it the position, which at this point is just the mouse position. We'll give it the slot size, which we'll just leave as crafting inventory slot size, or crafting size. Yeah, that thing. And then we'll say 0.95F. Okay. So that should allow us to pick it up. And then when we pick it up, we want to make sure to mark it as not there anymore. So we'll say inventory dot slots I dot block ID equals null for now, but we'll change that. Block map null dot ID. Okay, so now we should be able to pick stuff up. That and that, I can't even read that, means China, United States of America. Okay, cool. With Chinese, you use meanings to create characters, and every little detail in the character matters. Yep. Yeah, so it's a very interesting problem, and I am constantly amazed at like font renderers and people who are able to do that stuff. And localization in general, it's a tough problem. Okay, so we should be able to click and pick up stuff now. So if I go ahead and go give player oak log, and then we go ahead. Oh, okay, I need to fix that. That picked it up without me clicking it. Oh, cool, it disappears when I do this. That's good, but then it's here when we go back in. So we need to fix that, and it's not actually going towards my mouse the best. So I might need to do like 1.0 because it's currently trying to center it on my mouse, which isn't really cool. So we'll fix that. And it needs to click when we actually do that. So let's fix those two things. So this says clicked inventory slot. This should only happen when we click it. And then only if we click it should we set it. So that's kind of weird that it did it without me clicking it. Maybe I did click it. I just didn't realize it. I don't know. But I don't think that's true. Anyways, though, let's fix this real quickly. We'll set this to 1. And then we'll use the other size. Actually, no, I think this is fine. But yeah, Mary 4F. Oh, okay. Okay, so we've got this. It should be drawing it there. Yeah, let's just see if that fixed that one bug real quickly. Okay, so let's say slash give player stone. Okay, yeah, so I just go over it and then it picks it up. That's not correct. Let's see what's going on there. So we say if it's, oh, I'm not checking if it got clicked here. If mouse, I mean, this would help, right? If input, mouse button pressed, GLFW mouse button left. Yeah, let's actually check for clicking here, and maybe that'll work. Flare YouTube, how's it going? I hope you are doing all right. So let's see if we're good now. That should fix that. I guess all of you guys could help me out with localization, right? Because we've got Jujas. You're German? Or do you speak German? I don't know. I could be completely wrong on that. And I know some of you guys speak Hindi and stuff. And I know we've got a few other languages too. So we've got quite a few languages already just between the a lot of us. Okay, let's give myself some stone. And if we click this, there we go. So if we click it, it gets picked up. I still don't like the way it's hovering away from the mouse. I believe we can probably fix that. Maybe I should change up the way it works and everything, but yeah. For now, let's get it so that if I click again, it places it into another slot. So we can do that pretty easily right here. So we say if the inventory block ID is not null. If we clicked it, we pick it up right here, right? But what if we clicked it and the inventory block ID is null? So then we'll say else if inventory, well, okay, so right here, the inventory block ID is clearly null or it's an error block. So in this case, what we want to do is we want to say else if we click the inventory slot. Then what we want to do, let's turn off that mode, is we'll say, we'll swap them, right? So basically we can, or actually no, we'll just place this here, right? So we'll say if is holding item. Let's go ahead and place the item down here, which we can do just by saying inventory slots item is the mouse item. Okay, and then we can just say is holding item equals false. Cool. So now if we do that, we should be able to place it in different slots. Let's see if that works correct. And it should update the bottom hotbar automatically just because of the way I coded this, which will be nice. So yeah. Oh yeah, Fire YouTube, you can speak Portuguese, right? So we've got like a lot of the major languages, which is pretty cool. Okay, let's see, give player stone. So I can pick this up and I can place it down. Awesome, cool. So this is working pretty good, and you'll see it updates down here too automatically, and that's just because of the way I coded it, which is great. So now we can actually start to do some stuff, which is really nice. Let's go log. This will just place it in the first available slot too. So it placed it there. And then if I go another block, it places it in the next available slot, which is cool. So we can just sort of move things around and then like, you know, do that stuff. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Sweet. Tree, you can do Polish. Okay, so that's great. Yes. And Jomega, oh, you upgraded VS22. Sweet. If you don't use any VS 2019 specific tool, I'd recommend you upgrade. Yeah, I was telling everybody else I wanted to upgrade too. I use Premake right now though, so if Premake has support for it, then I will definitely be doing that. Okay, so we've got this stuff working. It'd probably be nice if we start supporting multiple blocks, because we're going to need to be able to use multiple blocks to do crafting and stuff. So I should probably add that support in now, which that's going to be fun. It actually shouldn't be too bad, because basically the way I've coded this, right, is an inventory slot has a block ID, and then it has a count, which can go up to 255. I believe 8 bits, 255. That should be right. So we should be able to code this up pretty easily. If we go back into here, we just want to add in that count now, right? So let's just say if we're holding an auto. Okay, yeah. So when we draw the item in the slot, we can do that pretty easily, actually. We can get the block count. Okay. First of all, I should switch this to inventory slot block. Okay, let's do that. And we'll say block dot block ID. And then we'll do the same thing here. Okay, fix that up. Fix that up. Okay, so we get the block ID there. We're gonna have some more errors as well because we want to change this. And I'm fine with copying that because that's smaller than an int, so there's no reason I shouldn't copy it. Okay, so that's all good. Okay, and then we're gonna have to switch this stuff up a little bit. So instead of inventory block ID, what we're gonna do is inventory block, and then we're just gonna change this, and we're gonna change that, and then we're gonna say inventory block dot block ID. I think I did that wrong. Inventory slot. Okay, there we go. And then we'll just do the same thing here. Block dot block ID. Okay, and then we'll just pass in this. That's good. Let's go ahead and fix this one up as well because we're gonna have a problem here, which is fine. and then we'll just make sure that that's good, and this is good, and this is good. And we'll change the mouse item to be an inventory block. That way we can keep track of how many items you're holding. Inventory slot. Man, okay. So then we just set this to that. We set this to that. Cool. So now we've got a way of getting the block counts, which are going to be embedded in here, right? We've got the block count in there. So now we just want to draw the count. I think I've got a font loaded up already. Let me just look for that real quickly, because I can't remember how I get it. Okay, yeah, so we get it just by doing this. I will copy that, go into here, and then let's have a static font star up here. Default font equals null pointer, and then we'll set that up right here. Okay, and let's just include fonts. Okay, cool. So we should be good with that now. We can use a font and we can draw the count. Let's draw the count next to the block, clearly. Jujas. Yeah, as far as I can tell, the number has an internal format that might reduce it. Oh, okay, I'm just checking that chat real quick. Yeah, you can do 2 to the 16th blocks. Yep, there is the limit. Like Jujas said, 65,536, 2 to the power 16. Technically that minus 2 because I have 2 reserve slots for air blocks and null blocks, but yeah. If you need pre-make with VS22 support, you can just get the new version. Yeah, so that's what I was wondering. So if pre-make has the newest version, I probably will swap that out and upgrade. Yep. And you upgrade to Windows 11. I'm waiting on that one because with Windows track record, you know it's going to be janky as all get out, right? Okay, anyways, let's draw the block count here though. So where do we want to draw it? We want to draw it in the bottom right corner, right? And how big is it? First of all, let's just get an idea of how big it is because I always forget. So we've got our default font. Yep, and we can do render draw string. Yep, okay, cool. So we can draw the string. The string we're going to draw is the block count. So let's say stood string block count equals stood to string, and we'll get the block count, which is just the block dot count. Okay, so we're going to do that. We want the font, which is our default font, and we're going to do that. We're going to do the position, which we'll get the count position in a minute. The scale, I think, is like 0. That's good. I need to change that because it's not the best. Okay, and then style, and then we'll do z index. I think 0 should actually be fine. We'll change that if needed though. We're drawing this. No, we're drawing this on z index 1, so we'll want to draw this at 2. So we're in front of the block. Okay, cool. So what's the count's position? It's going to be glm vec2 count position. We want to get the length of that string first of all. So let's get the size of that string, and then we can calculate the position. So let's get vec2 count size equals render. Or actually, we can do font get size. Yeah, let's get size of the block count. And then we'll do the scale, which I'll fix that. Let's say const float font scale equals 0.005f. We will replace that, Okay. Okay, so that's all good. We get the size, and then we can say glm vec2 count position. We want it to be in the bottom right corner. So basically, we'll take our sprite's position, which is adjusted position. We'll add the sprite's x size, right? Because this is the bottom left corner. So we'll do vec2 small size dot x Okay, and we'll do 0. So that should get us to the bottom right corner, and then we basically want to go center it on that bottom right corner. So then we'll do minus the count size over 2, and I believe we should be good. Okay, and then we've got all that. Yeah. So let's see how that looks. We should get like 1s. We should probably only draw that if it's greater than 1, so that you only get the position, all that good stuff, right? Okay, so give player stone. Okay, so it's definitely drawing 0 there, and it's definitely centered. It's just way too big, so let's fix that up real quickly. Let's go 1 more 0 there, which I need to fix these scales because they are super unintuitive. VS22 also changed the blue flashlight highlight color to a more soothing purple. That's nice. Oh, up here. Uber Super Boss. Hey, you just saw my video. Sweet. Good to see you. So we are currently programming Minecraft, right? And we're working on crafting today, which we're getting pretty close. Let's see if that looks better. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see that. It's super tiny, but there's a little 0 right there. It's way too small though, and it's also not in the correct position, so I might have to change that. Let's do 1. See if that looks better. How many hours do you think I've spent on this project so far? Too many. Not really. I enjoy doing this, and this is really fun. But I've probably spent... So it's been like... I don't know. Does anybody in the chat know when we started doing this? Because I can't remember. I think we started in like July or August. And at first I was only doing like maybe 1 or 2 hours a week. And I've certainly started upgrading to more hours a week. Like 250 hours, a conservative estimate. I don't know. August. Okay, cool. So we've got, whoa, that was weird. I gotta fix that. Don't know why I decided to change colors on me like that, but there's a small font in there. Yep, and it's not in the bottom right corner, so we gotta fix that. But that's pretty insane. What is going on there? I mean, I think I know what's going on there, but I don't know why it's happening. So we've got an overlay that I'm drawing to give it like a slightly darker color. Yeah. Right here. And it should be using this hover style, which if we look is this color. So I don't know why that color is changing. And only for the background overlay. That's really weird. And it only did it then too. Weirdness all around. Huh. Maybe it'll just go away. I don't know. Did I do something weird down here? I just changed that. So, yeah. Let's also add in... Oh, it's because we're subtracting... Okay, I see what's going on here now too. For the position, not for that weird green screen. That's weird. Let's go ahead. We'll say glm vec2. .x 0, that way it's centered appropriately, and now I think we should be good there. Is it because I'm underwater? I don't think so, but maybe it is. The colors are mixing really strange. Actually, that could be it. And if it is, I really have to fix that, because, yeah, that shouldn't be happening. Okay, so it's a weird green. I am underwater. Let's see if... Nope, it's not because I'm underwater. Okay, so something weird is going on there. We'll fix that in a minute. Okay, so now the stone, that number is showing up kind of the right position. I'd like to move it over a little bit more though. And I'm really not sure what's up with that. So we just give it style as default style here. I'm gonna do this real quickly, see if this fixes it. If it does though, we've got to fix something else because that shouldn't be changing. So let's see if this fixes that. There we go. Okay. Okay, I think that fixed it. Really weird. I don't know why that's getting changed. Yeah, okay, looks like that fixed it. Yeah, okay, cool. It shouldn't be getting changed though, so I'll have to investigate that. Okay, cool. Let's put a to do in here for me for later. To do. I shouldn't have to do this. It's changing somehow. Okay, because of fonts probably. I don't know. It could be because of something completely different. I'm guessing it might actually be because this is the index or something. I have no idea. We'll see sometime later. But anyways, okay, so we've got the string and it's drawing in a pretty good position. We should only draw this though if our count is greater than 0, greater than 1. And we're actually gonna draw the count. So let's say block count equals block.count plus 1. We're gonna do that just because number. Because I want us to be able to use 256, which this should be able to. So yeah, we'll keep it that way. We'll change that. Where else was I using that? Oh, and then we can just check and see if this is greater than 0. Okay, so that should be good. Let's go ahead and update this guy a little bit more too now. Or not necessarily that, but this draw. Or actually, let's update the command so that we can see if this is working properly. So if we go down to where I have the give item or give player. Okay, yeah. So let's go down here. We're gonna say if args length does not equal 1 and or args length does not equal 2. So I'm gonna have an optional second parameter. The second parameter is how many blocks you want to give the player. That way we can customize that. So then we will say, what's this saying now? Yeah, this should be an and. Okay, thanks Visual Studio. Okay, so if args length does not equal 1 and it's not equal to 2, we need 1 or 2 arguments. Okay, cool. So we get the block name, and we'll say if args length equals 2, then we're going to get the block count, which is going to be, let's see how I get numbers here. I think I have a parse integer somewhere in here. Yeah, okay. Wait, nope, not that one. Yeah, okay, so this thing, let's go ahead and grab this. So if args length equals 2, we're going to check the second one, which is index 1. And then we'll say give player expects an integer as the second argument, the block count. Okay. These will all eventually go into the chat too so that you can see the warnings. But anyways, we'll get the integer, which is going to be the block count. We'll initialize block count to 1 here. We'll say block count equals, actually, let's do 1 here. I'm going to change this up again. We're not going to do +1 here because that's just confusing. So let's do if block count is greater than 1. Then we do that. And then this will just be block.count. Okay, cool. So then we've got block count here. If it's not an integer, we print out a warning and we stop. Otherwise, we get that block count, which we set to that integer, and that should be 1. Okay, cool. So then we're gonna say world give player block ID, and we'll give it the block count. Let's go to this function and update it very quickly. Give player block. This takes in a block ID and int block count. World.h. And somewhere here, yep. We'll say block count. Okay, and then this will just loop through the inventory. For now, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna say inventory.slot i.block count, or actually count equals block count. Okay, and then eventually we'll upgrade that so that we like kind of add these to different inventory slots. Like if you have 64 blocks you want to give the player and they have 2 open slots and one of them has that block, you know, it should just sort everything out automatically. But that's a future problem. For now, I just want to get to the crafting, which we're getting pretty close to. Okay, so if we say give player stone 52, there we go, cool. So I got 52 in that bottom right corner, so it's getting that slot correctly. I want to shift it to the left a little bit more, so we're going to fix that too. But then if I say like give player oak log 21, we get that. And then if I say give player cobblestone with no arguments, it just gives me 1, and we don't get anything displayed there since we've just got 1. Sweet. So that's working good. I want to make that font a little bit bigger and move it over to the left more though. So let's fix that very quickly. Let's increase this font scale to like 0.002. We're going to do plus that, minus, we'll have const float padding, which I'm going to set to like 0.01, and we can increase that if needed. So we'll do that x plus padding. Okay, and that should get us over to the left a little bit more. Ritsky, did I use JetBrains IDE? I'm using C++ right now, so this is Visual Studio. And this is quite different from mobile app development. Yeah. Oh, cool. So VS22 finally supports the new .NET. I haven't been using C# lately because I have switched in my job, but that's pretty cool. G3 Dev, it doesn't show the font when the command line is toggled. Do you think this would ever run on a phone? Wait, okay, these are 2 different people. I'm getting confused because you guys got the same colors. G3 Dev, it doesn't show the font when the command line is toggled. Can you explain what you mean? Like the, I think you guys should be, oh, wait, I think I see what you're saying. So when I do give player stone 22, yeah, so the font disappears there. We should check that out. Yeah. And do493, do I think this would ever run on a phone? Not the way it is currently. I don't think I want this to run on a phone, to be quite honest. It just doesn't make sense to me why anyone... I mean, I guess some people do like playing it on the phone and stuff, but I don't want that. In Gelmega, you just learned something awesome. Not sure if it works on Win 10, but Win Alt B toggles HDR. Sweet. C-Line is a paid service, I believe, and I'm pretty happy with Visual Studio, but yeah. But if you like it, that's cool. I mean, everyone has their preferences. Okay, let's change this. That was too big, so I'm going to change that to like 0.13. Let's try 1.2, see how that looks. And then I'll have to fix that command line. I think I know why the command line is blocking out the block counts, but we'll investigate a little bit more. Stone 22. Also, it switches my inventory slot, which isn't good when we do that. Let me make this big screen just to make sure this is pretty visible, right? I think so. That's a big enough size. I just need to change that padding a little bit more too, though. And you know what? We could just do, instead of over 2, let's just do that. And I think that's going to be better. In your country, you can use a cracked version of C-Line with no problem. I'm sure I could too, but I prefer to pay for things if I'm going to be using it. And Visual Studio doesn't give me any problems, so I like it quite a bit. Okay, cool. That looks pretty good. Yeah. So that's pretty good. We need to move it over a little bit more too when it's connected to the mouse, because I don't like that. It's kind of so far away from it, but we'll fix that up. I like the position of those blocks now. Let's figure out what's up with this problem. So the block count disappears. I believe that's just because we have those on the same Z index. So this is on Z index 2. Let's go to command line, which is right here. Let's go to where we're drawing it. We are drawing it right up here somewhere. Maybe. Where am I drawing this? Okay, we're drawing it right here. And it's using the input, and I gave it a Z index, which is 3. Okay, so that shouldn't be... That is strange. It shouldn't be blocking out that count. You know what it might be? It might be the way I'm doing my font rendering. Let's open this guy up. Because I do my fonts, I render them slightly different to save some memory. Not in there. Let's go into assets, shaders. Where is it? I think it's just in debug shader. Yeah, okay, it's right here. So, yeah, if we're using a font, what do? I calculate all of this by doing this. I will have to investigate that further. I'm not sure why it's blocking out that count. Because that is kind of weird. For now, let me just try this real quickly. If I move that to 4, does that change things? We shall see. This is pretty visible. Hard to see what's happening in front of it. I guess when I make this, yeah, okay, so it is kind of in front of the chat. Here, we'll move that over so that you guys can tell me if it's visible or not. So if I give myself that, okay, yeah, so if I move this up an index, it's not blocking that out. We will have to see why that does block it out. Okay, there you go. So pretty visible. Do you guys agree? If not, let me know and I'll try and check that out. But I think this is looking pretty good so far. We're getting places. Next thing I want to do is support, like if you click this and I do like right click, it should split it. Or if I like right click this to pick it up, it should split it in half. That should be pretty easy to add in. So let's do that really quickly. So let's say when we pick up an item, we also need to get like swapping items too, which I don't think I have right now. Okay, so update crafting screen. We basically say if the block's not null, we draw the item, and then we say if we clicked it, and then we set the mouse item to that. What we need to do here though is we need to check and see if the mouse item, let's actually just swap it no matter what. That should be fine. Okay, so we'll say mouse item equals inventory block, and then we'll say inventory.hotbar I equals mouse item, which when we, yeah, so instead of doing this, we're just gonna do this, which I think should be fine. So if the mouse item is holding nothing, it'll basically place nothing into the, but then if we have 2 items and we're swapping it, okay. I don't know if this makes any sense, but I think this should be good. I just want to make sure. Yeah, I think this should be good. Let's try this out real quickly. So basically, if I click onto an item, it should swap that item with whatever I'm holding. Okay, let's check it out. And whoa, Voxel Riffs is just roasting people in the chat. He's usually not like this, guys. Okay, let's see. Let's go up here. So I'm working, yeah, CGO clan, I am working on inventory stuff. So like basically that type of stuff. Yeah, let's also give myself oak log. I'll give myself like 54 of those. Okay, so now if I click, okay, so this isn't working right, but if I click here, yeah, that works right. So I am swapping them. I just need to update one more thing, I think. Let's just set this equal to, what does an inventory slot look like? Block ID count. So let's just set this to null block ID and 0. So we'll say item, what the heck is it called? Block map, null block dot ID 0. Okay, so that should fix that bug that we saw. Whoops. Go back. Okay, so now we should be good. We should be able to swap blocks around and stuff. I just did an illegal thing, duping the inventory. We're fixing that though, don't worry. Okay, let's see. So now if I go give block stone. Uh-oh. Why didn't I get any stone? Did I break something else by doing that? Give, or maybe I just typed in the command wrong. Stone 22. Nope, there's nothing there. Give block cobblestone. How did that break that? I'm confused now because that should not have broken anything else. Did I have any? Wait a second. This is weird. That should not have broken those things. Question. Can you see my stupidity? I don't like saying if people are stupid or not, and I'm probably gonna get this wrong, so don't worry. We've all made stupid mistakes. Let's see. Template numeric T, auto mat22 transpose const no accept. Is this transpose returning the wrong thing? M00, M01. Should this be like M? Yeah, because this just looks like regular matrix. If so, I've done many times the similar thing, so I do not say you're stupid at all. It's just part of programming, right? Isn't the command give player? Oh, was I typing that wrong? If I was, then see, I'm stupid too. So I clearly just said it should be M00, M10, not 01. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, that doesn't look right. And I might have just typed in the wrong command. So, stone. Okay, yeah, I was just typing in the wrong command. Thank you. Who said that? Hilbert Curve, thank you. Yep, I need to just watch what I'm typing. Okay, anyways, let's see if I fix that one problem. I thought Firefox transitioned to really ugly tab bar. How's it going? Shafia has. I probably said your name totally wrong, and I'm sorry about that. Okay, let's say give player cobblestone 22. Give player. I need to fix that too. It keeps switching slots if I like type a number. Let's fix that in a minute too. Oak log 43. That sounds good. Okay, so if I click this, no, it's still. That's not good. Okay, why is it doing that? It shouldn't be doing that. We've got inventory slot. It should have a null block ID and it should have 0. So when we click, if we click the inventory slot, we say the mouse item should equal whatever was in that inventory slot. Then we say is holding item equals true. Then we say the hotbar equals whatever the mouse was currently holding, which in this case should be a null block that has 0. Should. It's not. Why is it not though? Oh, is it because of this? No, yeah, okay. So if we click on it, let's hit a breakpoint in here real quickly and see what's going on. What browser do I use? I use Opera. Yeah, oh, okay, so that's why you said the thing about Firefox. Yeah, I'm using Opera right now. So Opera is actually very nice and I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm excited, Jomega, about VS22. I really want to switch to it, so I'll probably upgrade pre-make after this stream and switch over, because that will be nice. 22. Actually, I should be able to do like 232. Nope, that didn't work. I should be able to give that much, but it looks like... Do I have block counts at 8 bits? 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. Yeah, so that should work. I don't know. Cobblestone 23. Okay, that's still working at least. If we click this, we should hit that breakpoint. We do hit that breakpoint. So the mouse item currently is 0, 0, which is good. The inventory hotbar at I, if we watch it down here, let's delete that. Inventory.hotbar I right now is 1223, which is what we've got. So then if I click this, oh, it's because I'm so stupid. Jomega, see, like, don't call yourself stupid, because here I am doing this stuff. I'm swapping the mouse item here, and I'm setting it to the mouse item here. And I'm like, why is the mouse item disappearing? Well, yeah, this would help. Do this before I do this, and now I'm good. Okay, we should be good now. Yeah, the basic swapping thingy. I know, right? I just, yeah. Shafia has. I'm so sorry if I'm saying your name wrong too. I am not good with names. You found my Minecraft creating video and now you're here. Sweet. We are still creating it and I promise we will get to crafting pretty soon. Right now, I'm just trying to get this stuff working properly. Okay, so now if I click it, that's good. Oh yeah, there's also this bug, which is pretty fun. So if I start moving and then I hit E, it retains my mouse movement and it just keeps spinning. So yeah. Oh, wait, come on. There we go. So yeah, I got to fix that too. And I am pronouncing your name correctly. Okay, that's good to hear. If I ever pronounce your guys' name improperly, don't take any offense to it. I think I pronounced Lagrange. I said Lagrange in one of my videos, and somebody was like, it's pronounced Lagrange. And I'm like, well, I can't speak French. I don't know. But yeah, anyways, I think we're good here. No, why did this break? Oh, it's because I have one more thing to do. I think I need to initialize inventory slots. Yeah, I'm guessing I probably need... What happened there? Wait a second. I got to go through that again. That was totally... Yeah. What happens if I walk in press E? I should check that out, yeah. And label it pro feature. We will do that. See how it goes. Yeah, label it as a feature. It'll be the speedrunning strategy, right? You have to spin your inventory thing and then pause, and then you get like... You can check out your debug stats. I don't know. Okay, so if I give myself some stone... and I do that, and I do this, and I go out, and I... Okay, yeah. So it's going... Why is it duplicating now? I think it's because we are retaining this thing. But when we click it, we should swap it. I'm guessing it's just because I'm not initializing inventory slots properly. But I should be. I don't see why I wouldn't be, because I zero this stuff out. CryoG, no scope 360 feature. I like it. It's good to see all the new people here too. Good to see you guys. Okay, so I gotta think about this. Why is it doing this? So the first time we hit this is null and we have a count of 0. We click onto the slot, it assigns it to the mouse item, and we say we're holding an item. Then we place it somewhere. So then what happens is the mouse item gets whatever's in that slot, which should be null and 0. And it should put it into our hotbar, or I guess our mouse item. Let's hit a breakpoint in here again. And let's just see if my assumptions are true, because I'm guessing they probably aren't, which is why we're seeing incorrect behavior. So if I go give player stone, and then we click this, I hit that, we hit this breakpoint, mouse item is currently 0, hotbar is 6. That's good. So then if we go ahead and we drop this here, okay, we didn't hit that breakpoint, so that's probably what's going wrong. Oh yeah, it's because we're, okay, that makes sense. So it's because we're going into this path instead. So inventory slots I equals mouse item. And then we need to set the mouse item to whatever was in there before. Let's go ahead and we'll say inventory slot temp equals mouse item. Then we'll say this equals temp. And we'll say mouse item equals inventory inventory slots I dot slots I. Okay, there we go. So I think that should fix that problem that we had. We shall see. Another swapping thingy. So if we go ahead and run this, and then I say give player stone 23. I guess 23 is my favorite number today. Oh, I think somebody told me to start walking in Pressy. I think, yeah, cool. I keep walking. That's cool too. Okay. Stop moving. So if I go here and I click, okay, cool. It looks like that fixed that. Yeah, looks like we are good. Cool. So let's add in right click feature where you right click and then it picks up half the slots. Should be pretty easy too. And I got bad chunks too. Yeah, I know. That's, I don't think it's actually a problem, but I do have to look into it a little bit deeper. I think we should be good with that. It's just a warning I had for when I was debugging, and it no longer applies. Hopefully. I don't think it's a problem. We'll see. Anyways, does the game currently load infinite chunks? It should. The seed is the same every time, though. I've got to fix that still. So if we right click, we want to do something different. So this is a left click. left clicked the inventory slot equals true. And we'll do all this stuff here. Okay, and then we want to check right clicked. So bool right clicked inventory slot equals false. And we'll go ahead and we'll say if, I mean, I could just say left click inventory slot equals input mouse begin press. Not that. GLFW mouse button left. And then we'll say right click equals press GLFW mouse button right, and that should get us the same functionality. So let's just simplify that a little bit. And this is all if we're left clicking. We'll say else if right clicked. Then we will take half of the items. So we'll say int half count equals inventory. Whoops, inventory.hotbar I.count over 2. If that's 0, that should give us 0. If it's 1, it'll give us 0. So then we'll say int inventory count should be the hotbar I.count minus the half count. So this means that if we had 2 items in here, well, if we had 1 item in here, this would be count minus half count, which is 1. So this should actually be the mouse count. And then we'll say int inventory count equals mouse count minus half count. No, mouse, yes, no. Mouse count minus, I think this is right. This should not be confusing me. Okay, so let's say the inventory has block 12 and it's got 1 slot, 1 item in there, right? So then mouse count, so this is inventory. Mouse is going to be that minus half count, which would be 0. So 1 minus 0, so that would be 1. And then we want the inventory to contain I after to contain 0, right? Because we've just picked up half of this, which is actually 1, which is the whole thing. So then this should be the mouse count minus inventory, or inventory minus mouse count. Yeah, I think that's what we want. So we want to do that minus mouse count. This means that if we had 20 in here, the mouse would be 20 minus half count, which is 10. So that would be 10. And then this would be 10. And then if we had 21, mouse minus half count would be 11, right? Because half is 10. We did 21 minus 10, which would be 11. Okay, yeah. And then this should be 21 minus 11, which is 10. Okay, cool. So I think this all works out. And then we just need to update our counts here. So we'll say inventory.hotbar I.count equals inventory count. We'll say the mouse item equals inventory block. And then we'll say mouse item dot count equals mouse count. And then we'll say if inventory dot hotbar I dot count equals 0, hotbar I dot ID equals null block. Okay, so I think that should do everything we want. Dot ID. Let me just check this up real quickly. Uh-oh, we had a bad chat in there. Thanks, Tree, for checking that out. The game works on Linux. Do 493. That should not happen, but if it does, that is really cool because I have a lot of Windows specific functions. So cool if it does, but I'm not sure how it's working. Okay, anyways though, I think this should be good now, right? So if we right click it, we get like half of the items into here. And then if we right clicked an empty slot, it shouldn't do anything. So we don't care about that in that case. Cool. So yeah, lots of things are broken, but it loads and you can place break blocks. That is interesting. I know none of the file management stuff should work because that's all Windows specific. So it shouldn't be able to save any worlds or anything like that. But I guess it could survive all the other stuff, which is really cool. Okay, give player stone 23. Okay, so then if I right click this, I got 11 in there, but I did not get... Okay, so that worked, but the mouse item did not. Let's see what I did wrong there. Oh, I think I need to say is holding item equals true. Duh. Yeah, so we'll just say is holding item equals true. And I think we're good here. Let's see if we get this back. Flare YouTube, how's it going? You are back. That's good to see. Your movement isn't tied to the mouse, so you can only move about 1/5 of the way around, and it's janky. Yeah, it's because GLFW is compiling right now with Windows-specific stuff too, so I'm not even sure how it's getting a window up. That is interesting. You're having lunch. That's great. Hopefully it's a good lunch. Okay, let's see. Give player stone. Let's do 23 because that's a weird number. Okay, so I got 11 in there and I got 12 in here. Is that how it should work? And if I click it again, that goes to 6 and 6, 3 and 3. So yeah, and then I need to fix it so that like these are just swapping. I need to add the blocks together if we click one and it's the same. Yeah, because those are just swapping right now. So let's add that functionality now too. So if we left click it, we'll say if inventory.hotbar i.id does not equal the mouse item.id, then we'll just swap them. Swap the block and mouse item if they are different. Otherwise, add the count to the mouse block up to 64. We might change that so that we have a different cap. We'll figure all that stuff out later. For now, we'll keep it like Minecraft. So say otherwise, else we have the same. So we'll say mouse item dot block ID plus equals inventory dot hotbar I dot count. Not the ID, that would be bad. We want the count. Okay, so we add the counts up. If mouse item dot count is greater than or equal to 64, I guess we just want greater than. Then we'll say mouse item dot count equals 64, and then we'll int leftover equals that minus 64, and then we'll add that back to the inventory slot. I.count plus equals leftover. Okay, cool. So I think that should be everything we need there. This is getting to be some very complex logic, and I don't like that. Wait, not negative 64. Did I write negative 64? Oh yeah, this is right. Wait. Yeah, if it's greater than 64, we take that minus 64, which should give us the leftover, I believe. We'll see. Running through the wine compatibility layer works well. Well, that's good to hear. It should work fine if you're running like a VM, but yeah. And wine even saves your world. It should, yeah. Into %app data folder is where it should go and everything. But stone 23. So if we do that, if we split it, we do that. If we combine, okay, so it added those there, but we never subtracted from there. We need to make sure we subtract those. Okay, so then we'll say inventory.hotbar I.count equals 0. And then we'll say if equals 0, then we'll say inventory.hotbar I.id equals null block. Okay, we need to abstract some of this logic at some point. But yeah, I should stop doubting your code. You're good, voxel riffs. I need people doubting my code because then it'll catch the mistakes I make, which do happen quite often. Okay, let's give myself some stone. I'm gonna maximize this very quickly too. Okay, so if I split that, and then they add back together. Cool. So then if I go, yep, that's all working good. Can you split blocks when you're holding them like this? So if I hold it like this, can I place half of them down here? Or when I right click, it only places one at a time, I'm pretty sure. Oh, that's not good. I'm right clicking here and it's deleting blocks. So I'll have to fix that too. Which platforms do I plan on releasing your game if when you get that far? Will the code be supported on console? I do want to experiment with console, but you need like licenses and stuff for that. But if I ever get that far, I would like to port it to console because I think that'd be pretty cool. Only problem is mouse doesn't stick to center, so I can do 93. If you press F2, that should lock the cursor. Flare YouTube, how much did I learn from doing that game, Gabe? Which game? Sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat and stuff. When you right-click a stack, it picks up half. If you right-click an empty slot, it drops one block. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured too. We'll fix that too. So this halves everything. If we right-click a slot, yeah, okay, so if we right-click a slot that has an item in it, just gotta make sure this is all right really quickly. If we right-clicked a slot and mouse item dot block ID equals the null block. This should fix that error where they were disappearing. Yeah, okay. Otherwise, I guess actually we can do this. If that does not equal, or yeah, if it equals the null block ID, we'll do this. Otherwise, we'll place one block down. So we'll say inventory.hotbar i.count++, and then we'll say mouse count or mouse item dot count minus minus, and then we'll just say if mouse item dot count equals 0 dot ID equals null block. Okay, let's see if that works. This is better than 90% of the Minecraft clones you've seen. Well, that's good to hear. The game is not necessarily console ready, but just because you write the code in C++. Yeah, so in order to get console ready, you do have to change up some more stuff because like file management, I'm assuming is vastly different on consoles. I'm not sure how they do window management and stuff too. But you're definitely closer to being able to port on to console if you're coding in C++ than like Java. C# you could probably get away with because C# has some support for Xbox, but I'm not sure about PS4 and stuff, or PlayStation. But yeah. Give player stone. Let's see if we fix that one bug. So if I split this. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm adding blocks here. Uh-oh. And then we crashed. What happened there? Okay, so we said that. Oh, I need to say holding item is false if we go to a null block. Is holding item equals false. I think that, yeah, right here too. Is holding item. Wait, no, that doesn't matter. Okay, cool. That should fix that crash. Good thing I had that assertion there. The water is very weird. It is. I still need to fix some things with transparency and everything. It's working for the most part, but I think the lighting is messing with it, and I've got to fix that. But the water looks pretty good for the most part, though. It just doesn't give you like whatever it's called, the see-through. Like it doesn't turn blue when you go under, but you can fix that with a shader. And then if I set time to that, yeah, you can kind of see the blocks down there. It just depends on how light it is. Yeah, you can kind of see them through the water there. That's just dirt blocks and stuff. But yep. Joe Mega, Xbox and Windows have quite some things in common as they both use a version of Windows NT kernel. Oh, sweet. PlayStation is different. As far as, you know, it uses a version of FreeBSD. Okay. From the inside, you mean? Yeah, we got to add a shader for the inside of the water, which we could actually probably do pretty quickly. We'll check that out in a second. Let's see. So if I do this and I keep right clicking, it's adding one there. Okay. And then we're good there. Cool. And then if I right click here, it's not doing anything. We'll fix that. And then if I left click, it joins them together. And actually, I guess if I left click, It should place the blocks in the inventory, not in my mouse cursor. So I might need to fix that too. But yeah, let's commit this real quickly. And because Voxel Rifts doesn't like the water, I'm just kidding. We're going to fix up the water because I think that would be pretty cool to do. So let's go ahead and we should say add begin inventory management for mouse stuff. And then we'll push that. Alrighty. So then we can add in the water shader pretty easily because I have a final pass shader, which is our composite shader. Not our composite shader. I think it's the regular shader. Nope, I don't think it's that. I'm trying to remember which one. Main frame buffer. Yeah. Okay, so this is our main frame buffer. And what we can do is we can say like uniform bool underwater. And I guess we should call that U underwater. And then we'll say, so this is our color that we want. So we'll say vec3 color equals that. And then we'll say color times equals, well, actually we can say times, well, how do we want to do this? We want to give it a blue tint, right? So we'll say like a constant vec3 watercolor or water tint equals like vec3 0.1, 0.12, 0.76. Okay, so we've got that water tint, and we'll basically do this times, and how do we want to do this? Because we want it to be white if it's... I'm trying to do this branchless. It doesn't matter too much, I don't think. It's 4:30 p.m. and already getting dark. I know, it gets dark here at like 4:32. Not good, but, you know, it is what it is. How do we make this white if it's underwater? If this spool is true. Otherwise, this color, branchless. I'm just going to do it this way, which technically isn't branchless, but whatever. Otherwise, we'll just do vec3 1. Okay. We'll fix that. I gotta learn like branchless programming for shader stuff at some point. But yeah. Okay, so then we do color, and then we'll just change this up to color. And we should get a bluish tint when we're underwater. We just have to add that now. How do we detect if we're underwater? We can just say, let's ask the world, bool is player underwater, and we can fix this up in the future too if we want to decouple this stuff a little bit better. I don't really care about that right now. Let's get the player's position. So we'll get transform of the player, and we'll say, this is the transform. And then we want to check our blocks. So basically we just want to check and see if we're underwater. So how do we do that? We just check and see if our Y position is below a water block. So let's get the block we're on. Block at eye level equals, let's do chunk manager, get block. We'll give it our position. And then what we can do is we can say if block at eye level is a water block. What is water's ID? I can't remember that offhand. Let's see. I think it's 19, but I'm not completely sure. Assets. Custom. Let's go into here. Water is 19. Cool. So we will do if that is 19. Actually, we can just return that, right? Return block at eye level to ID equals 19. And that will tell us if we're underwater or not. Okay, so we do that. Then we can go into our application.cpp. And this is where we render to our main frame buffer. And we also need a way to check and see if we're actually like in the play mode, right? If we're playing the game. Because if we're not, I don't want to be calling that stuff. So mainframe buffer, this is all messed up too. So don't take any inspiration from this code. But yeah, Voxverse, turn you underwater into an int that actually represents not underwater, 0 when underwater and 1 when underwater. Multiply by 10 and add that with a fragment maybe. That's a good idea. Thank you. So if we want this to be branchless, we can just change this to a vec4 and we'll say this u tint. We'll just call it tint and then we can change it depending on different things. So we'll do that. And actually that should be vec3. And I'm going to copy those values so we can use the same things. Okay, good idea, Voxverse. Thank you. Or just do -1 to get not underwater from shader. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we upload the main thing here, and then we can say if world player underwater or something like that. I think I called it. We can say tint equals that. glm vec3 tint equals 1. Tint equals that. Whoops. F. I got to add world here. And then we can say screen shader dot upload vec3 u tint, and then we'll pass that. Okay. So I think that should be all we need. Let's get the world in here real quickly. I don't like this, but we'll fix it in the future. So I'll say hash include world/world. And I need one more check in here, which is basically like if we're actually playing the game. So like I think I can do scene. So if scene is playing game and we're that. And let's just update this stuff real quickly and I'll fix this all in the future. Okay, let's grab that. We'll say bool is playing game. And then we'll go into scene.cvp and we'll say void, or I guess bool down here is playing game, return current scene equals scene type game. Okay, cool. So we got that. What's wrong with this? That's fine. So then we say if we're playing the game and we're underwater, tint it. Okay, I think that should be it. Do493, are you planning on turning this into Minecraft quality game with marketing and all that? I'm not a marketing expert, so I have no idea. This is my marketing, streaming this and everything. So hopefully if it starts getting popular enough, the streams and the YouTube channel and everything, and it actually turns into a real game, then we will get some better quality. Okay, what do we get? Implicit cache from vec4 to vec3. What did I do here? This is a vec3. Okay, let's do that. Should be good now. And we should get an underwater tint. We also have to add like other post-processing effects because I think it'd be cool to do like vignettes and all that type of stuff. And like, oh, you changed frag color to vec3. Thank you. It found it just as you did. Let's see. So that should be vec4. How did I change frag color to vec3? I don't even remember doing that. So this is a vec3. 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 Okay, we should be good. Unless I'm missing something else. Found your first chunk error. This reminds me of my first Minecraft world 9 years ago. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of chunk errors, so you can count on that. I still need to update the lighting and stuff for when you go to different things. Ah, look at that. We've got blue voxel riffs. It's a really weird blue though. And I need to change it so that it only affects the world stuff and not our UI stuff. So yeah. Cool, and then when we jump out, it gets out. But our eye level thing isn't quite right, so I have to fix that too. Yeah, cool. That's working. You have to go now, Gabe. Bye. See you, Flare YouTube. Thanks for being able to make it to some of the stream, though. Okay, so let's fix that up so that it's only affecting our world. And so I think what I have to do then is actually add this tint to our composite shader instead. Because this is where we're drawing world stuff. So we will go ahead and add in a uniform in here. And then we'll go ahead and say frag color equals the average color times the tint. And I think that should be good. Utint. And did I have something else in here? Yeah, okay. So then we can remove this. So this is essentially the same now. And that's good too, because then this won't be in the scene anymore, which I kind of like. So let's copy that. And let's copy all of this. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And then we'll go to our chunk manager. Because this is where we're drawing using that composite shader. And we can go ahead and just say render should use that value somewhere down here. Almost there. Okay, here we go. Render. Okay, so then we do this, and then we do a composite shader pass. Yeah, and then we do composite shader here. So then what we can do is we can say right here, the tint is 1, and then we can say if the player is underwater, tint is that, and then we're gonna say composite shader dot upload vec3. Let's see if this works. So our UI stuff shouldn't get tinted now, which is better. But I have another error. Undefined variable color. Oh, yeah. I sort of changed this, didn't I? So this should be that. Okay, now we should be good. Close that out. There we go. We're good. And UI is not blue when we go underwater. Everything else should be blue, but it's not. Oh wait, no, this stuff is blue. It's just not changing that stuff to blue. I think the problem with that is this composite shader is only running for our transparent stuff. I believe. Yeah. Okay, so this is only running for our transparent stuff. So we need to do this in... Okay, let's think about this real quickly. Because of the way I'm doing order independent transparency, this is a little bit different. Our composite shader is taking this plus this. This is solid objects. This is transparent accumulation objects. And then we get this. Trying to think of what the best way to do this would be. Okay, so I think what we're actually gonna have to do is just upload this to 2 shaders. So instead of doing this here, once again, let's change the shaders. Let's go to our opaque shader and our transparent shader. And this is probably where I actually want it. So we will have this in here. And then we will have frag color equals light color times vec for that times object color times... Oh wait, and I actually think I have a tint somewhere in here. Do I? Nah, okay. So then we'll do a times utint or vec for utint 1.0. Okay, so we'll do that, and then I also have to do this in the opaque shader or transparent shader. Yep. So we'll do that times vec for utint 1.0. Okay, and then we'll add in utint up here. Let's just copy it from here. And we'll go here. And let me remove it from the composite shader. I did remove that. I need to remove it here as well. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this is up in the top of the render function. We'll do it right up here, tint. And then what we're gonna do is not that, but we'll do solid command buffer. Okay, so we bind the opaque shader here, upload that. We bind the transparent shader here, upload that, and we should be good. Okay, this should be it, I promise. Supreme Ultra, beware Microsoft. I agree. Microsoft has lots of problems. Apple does too, though, and so does Linux. Unfortunately, it's a common problem to everyone. Okay, but this isn't going to affect our cube maps too, which is kind of annoying. So our terrain is turning bluish because we're underwater now. And then once we jump out, it turns this color. Not when we're completely underwater, though, which is kind of annoying. But it's not going to affect our cube map or anything. Because I'm compositing 2D stuff and 3D stuff. I'm wondering if there's a way that I can... Trying to think. We'll figure this out a little bit later. For now, though, we get kind of underwater tint, right? Let's fix this part, because this should be pretty easy, so that it only goes if we're actually underwater, under the eye level. So if I go into here, we can say character controller, ref, character controller equals registry get component character controller player ID, and then we'll say position plus character controller dot camera offset. Okay, so that should fix that one problem where it's only when we're underwater. I have no idea what he's doing right now, but I'm fascinated. I am fixing the underwater stuff right now. Yep. Let's see. So if we go and when we're underwater, it should turn bluish, except for the horizon stuff, which is fine. I'll fix that some other time. Okay, so everything is bluish, and then when I jump out, as soon as I jump out, it's not blue. Cool. That's pretty good. I don't really like that blue color, but we can fix it at some other time. But I think that's pretty good. Let's give ourselves some glowstone real quick. So we can add some light down here. Yeah, this does not look right at all. I'll have to fix the bluish color here, because it doesn't quite look like underwater. I mean, it does look like underwater, but it's not Minecraft underwaterness. So I'll fix that later. Is there a build height limit? There is. I'm not sure what happens if you try and build above it, but there should be. Am I planning on doing water physics like in Minecraft? I am. It should be pretty easy to do since it's very similar to how light works in Minecraft, but yeah. What is that limit? 256, same as Minecraft. It's going to be a Minecraft clone at first, but then I'm going to be changing it as I go on. I still want to add in more Minecraft features before we start changing some stuff up. Okay, let's go back into here very quickly. And we'll say git bash and commit that. Commit, add some janky watercolors. Okay. So let's go back to crafting stuff, right? We've got the ability to split blocks and everything. Let's just check and see what's going on with that too very quickly. What is that limit? I really like infinite terrain. It'd be so bad if it was changed to finite. 256. You can open up debug stats by F3 and then see your position. So like it tells me player pose up in the top left corner there. And then you can sort of climb up to that and it should tell you. Okay, so let's see. But I am going to be removing it in the future. It'll be like a 3,000 block limit once I switch it to my own game is what I'm aiming for large worlds and then different things. Yep. Anyways, okay, let's do stone. 23. Let's go ahead and see. Whoops. Okay, so if I pick this up, I can move it. That's good. If I right click, that's good. I need to be able to right click into an empty slot. And I also need to move that block slot back further. Let's do that very quickly too. So that hover texture. Let's go back. Let's exit this out, that, and that, and that. Okay, let's go back into here. So when I draw that texture, we need to move it back a little bit more. I think -2. And we'll do this. Wait a second. This is at -2. When we draw the block, which is somewhere down here. Yep, right down here. We draw it at 1. My Z indexing has to be messed up because this stuff is not getting drawn in the correct order. I will have to see what's up with that. For now, I think this should fix it. And then we'll just change this to -3. Or wait, maybe this is it? No, yeah, I don't know. Something is weird going on with my Z indexing, so I'll have to check that out. Why not keep it infinite? Because I think there's optimizations I can make if I don't have to worry about it being infinite, and I just want it to be more like Terraria. So, yeah, there's design choices. So it's game design choices, which is why I don't plan on making it infinite. But like I said, I'll see how it goes. Maybe I will decide that infinite would be better. Yep. Rutsky, did I play some mod packs like FTB, Sky Factory, or Stoneblock? I have not. I think the only mod I ever played with was like Optifine. And you don't know why games are using finite terrain. Valoran did it, and it's boring now because once you explore everything, there's nothing else to see. Well, like you showed in the Discord, Valoran did it, but it sounds like they made certain optimizations based on the geometry being static. And I think those optimizations can only be made if the geometry is static. Minecraft does not have static terrain, and so that might help them with the infiniteness of the world. I don't know though. I'll see. We will see. Let's give myself some stone. What was I going to check again? Oh yeah, see if it's like going behind it still. Yeah, it's still going behind it. That is weird. That should not be going behind that, should it? Am I looking at the right things here? So let's change that to back to 2, back to 1. If we go down here, when we draw the item in the slot, we draw texture 2D. The Z index should be 1. So it should be in front of it, but it's not. This is working. Do I have draw texture 2D? Maybe it's just this function that I haven't updated yet. So draw texture triangle. This should get the batch, taking the Z index in. Okay. And the Z index we pass in here is coming from this Z index, which is coming from here, which is coming from this Z index. Yeah. Okay, draw a texture triangle. Just make sure that's in the right slot. Yeah, okay. So that looks right. We get the batch based on the Z index, which is this thing. And if we look in here, this goes through all the batches. I should change this. This is batch 2D. Let's change that and that and that and that and that. Okay, if the batch has room and its Z index is the same and it uses this texture. Oh, maybe it's just when I'm drawing things. Maybe I'm not sorting. Let's go back to render function. Okay, so we say flush batch is 2D. So we do this. Yeah, I'm not sorting this. Oh. It would help if I sort my batches and I would actually get proper Z indexing support. So what I need to do here is I just need to say shader 2D dot, no, not shader 2D. We have our batches here. They're in this batch object. Okay, that's fine. And this is in this batches 2D, which is just a vector. So then we can just say stood sort. We'll give it the first and the last batch. Batches 2D dot begin, batches 2D dot end. Okay, so now we should sort it, and then we just need to add a comparing function. Let's, I always forget this. C++, sort custom compare. Okay, I always forget how to do this. Less than key, we just do this. Okay, yeah, so we just need something like this. So let's go into here, into the batch object, and this will go ahead and implement an operator Okay, operator less than is takes in another batch, and we'll template this. Okay, so then we just take in the batch, and we basically check and see if our z index is less than batch dot z index. Okay, cool. So that should get sorting, and now we should have no problems there. You can build in Valoran, but they nerfed it, so building is entirely possible, just like Minecraft. They just don't want it. Would you be willing to offer option for infinite terrain generation and world creation screen? I'm toying around with that idea. Like I said, it just depends on how the development goes. I might make certain decisions that means it's easier to do like finite world sizes, but it all depends. What the heck is happening here? This is not good. Oh, I don't need to template this because this is a templated class. Okay, let me just change that. Cool, so now we should be good. And I believe we should have proper Z indexing now. I don't know how I got this far without having proper Z indexing because I thought it was working all this time. And it must be working for some things, but it's clearly not working for this. Okay, so if I go ahead and say give player stone 23, we get that. So I do that. No, it's still behind it. What the heck? That is just not right. What is going on here? Let's go back into here. Renderer. Okay, so we sort the batches. Okay. That should sort them in ascending order, I believe. Can we add like a sort in ascending or sort descending? Stood, sort ascending. Let's see. Stood sort. In the following examples, the strings will be sorted. Stood sort with built-in comparator. This is not helpful. Just tell me if it sorts in ascending order or descending. Let's go to the documentation because this is always better. Okay. So this sorts the elements in the range first, last, and non-descending order. Okay, so in ascending order. In other words, the order of equal elements is not guaranteed to be preserved. Okay, that's fine. So if I sort this, it should sort it in ascending order, which means we should draw the furthest back batches first and stuff. Let me just see if they have an example for swapping it. Okay, yeah, this is a good. So sorted with a default operator goes in ascending order. Sorted with a standard library compare function goes in descending order. Yeah, okay. So it should go in ascending order, but it's still not drawing them properly. This is weird. Well, let me just double check this real quick. Let's put a breakpoint in here and make sure we are getting the correct sorting here. Okay, so if we check this out, our batches 2D contain nothing. Let's run this for a little bit. Okay, let's see if we've got anything now. Okay, we've got two batches in here. And the first one is z index of -1. Okay, second one is z index of 0. Okay, so that looks fine. Let's start the game and see if that changes. I will do this. Actually, we'll do a /give player. And then we'll do this. And then I'm going to do that. And then we're going to actually hit a breakpoint in here again. Okay, what's it look like now? So we have 10 batches. That's good. That's what it should be. Something like that. Okay, so we get -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0. So they are definitely in sorted order. 1, 2, what's this one? 3, and 4. Okay, so it's definitely drawing them in sorted order. Am I iterating through them in sorted order? So this is batch 2D. We should get like -10 first. We got -5. That's wrong. Isn't it? No, that's right. Okay, never mind. Let's go ahead and we'll just continue real quick. Okay, then we get -4. -3. Okay, so it's even drawing them in sorted order too. This is really weird. Why my Z indexing is not working properly. I'm gonna have to debug this a little bit more, but yeah. I'm probably gonna stop the stream like right about here, guys, because it's been a while. We're basically getting crafting up and running. I know we said we would actually get to crafting items, but there were some other bugs that popped up. I am happy with the progress we've made because now we can actually give the player multiple items. We can split them up in the inventory, combine them, all that stuff. We're good. We can sort of drop items in there. I'll fix that up so that it works a little bit better too. But yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna add in the crafting and stuff in my off time, most likely. But yeah, anyways, thank you everyone for coming to the stream, and I hope you'll be able to make it to next week's stream as well, which I want to actually start doing multiplayer stuff. So yeah, now with Blue Water too, exactly. All right, guys, I will see you next time though.